Hey everyone. So tonight I want to discuss the decline of Western civilization. Now this, of course, is the original. There are overall 3 of these. And there is a rumor, well, I shouldn't say it's a rumor. I read an interview with Penelope Spheeris, who is the director and the creator of these. And she says that there is a 4th decline movie that her and her daughter have been slowly editing over the past several years, I would guess, because part 3 came out back in the 90s, or was shot back in the 90s, and I think it came out back in the early 2000s. I remember I got my copy of the 3rd one for free through the Decline's website. If you went there and you sent a self-addressed stamped envelope, they would send you back a VHS copy of the Decline Part 3, and that's how I got mine. Now, I haven't seen that copy in years. I don't know what happened to it. I think I probably lost it to whoever I was dating at the time. They probably grabbed it, because it does seem that more often than not, all the cool shit I end up getting, or at least the music-based cool shit that I end up getting, it always ends up in the hands of an ex-girlfriend. So technically I couldn't tell you where my copy of The Decline 3 went, but I'd be willing to bet it's probably an ex-girlfriend that took it. So anyways, I'm not discussing the 3rd one. Tonight we're discussing the 1st one. This was released way back when. Now the thing that makes this movie so significant is that, this is musically speaking, this movie is perfect. I mean, every band in this, it's Black Flag's in this, the Circle Jerks are here. I think the biggest bands here would be the Circle Jerks, Black Flag, and the Germs. Now that's not to say that the Alice Bag Band or Catholic Discipline, they didn't have somewhat of an impact, but I would definitely say I think technically speaking, I think the biggest band here would probably be X, because I know the X sort of had a lot of mainstream appeal, whereas Black Flag and Circle Jerks, they definitely did not. And because Darby Crash was such a fucking train wreck, the Germs could only book so many shows because you never knew exactly what Darby was going to do next. So I think maybe I should correct that and say I think the biggest band here is probably X, but then overall the biggest bands in this would have to be Circle Jerks, Black Flag, X, and the Germs. And I think the thing that my favorite thing about this documentary, or these documentaries in general, all 3 of them, is that they're just so honest. She's hanging out in the church where Black Flag is living, and she's just sort of there hanging out with them. And I get the impression that every interview that Spheeris conducts and every shot she gets, it just feels so casual. And it doesn't feel I'm the preeminent punk documentarian, and I'm going to set out to sort of make this blueprint of a film that everybody's going to sort of obsess over for the next few decades. I don't get that vibe from this. I don't get this feeling like Spheeris had set out to create something, anything specific at this point. I'm sure she was just in love with the scene, and she just tossed a camera in, and she just started recording these bands throughout several of their shows, and this really works. And I think the thing that makes this work is the fact that it comes off as so honest and so pure. She is clearly into punk, and she's there to discuss the punk rock world with these incredibly important and influential bands. And she does a really good job. I've loved Black Flag, for example, since I was a kid. So getting to see Black Flag, or at least during the Ron Reyes period that this is recorded during, it's absolutely vital. I remember renting this from Wonder Video in Pickering back when I was a kid, based off the cover with Darby Crash. He looks all fucking disheveled and his face is all drugged up and shit. I'm like, I gotta get my fucking hands on this. And I rented it because of the bands that I recognized, but I ended up falling in love with it because of the honesty and how effortless the interviews seem to be with both the bands as well as the fans. And what would end up becoming a thing for all 3 of the Declines is she will ask the fans who she's interviewing, where they're going to be in 5 years, And what I love about the first one here is that all the fans that she talks to, I shouldn't say all, the handful of them that she interviews throughout the course of the first decline, they all say that in 5 years' time, they're still going to be doing this. They're still going to be hitting shows. They're still going to be fucking going hard for bands like Black Flag and whatnot. And I love how that will shift over the course of the following 2 declines that she would shoot over the course of the next 30 years or so. And I do like how she asks that question of everybody she's interviewing, fan-wise at least, in all 3 of them, and how incredibly different their answers are given how enough time has passed between each. In this one, all the fans say in 5 years' time, they're still going to be doing the same thing. In the second one, because that's more about like the cock rock sort of Poison, Guns N' Roses, Kiss era of heavy metal years, I think it's framed as the heavy metal years, as a matter of fact. All the bands or all the people she talks to say that they're going to be fucking famous in 5 years. You know, they're going to be the next Kiss, or they're going to become the next LA Guns or whatever. And then with the third one, when she asks them where they're going to be in 5 years, they all say they're going to be dead. And the third one, I'm not going to get too into it because I will do a separate video about it. The third one has the most emotional impact. The first one is the most relevant as far as the historical aspects of punk rock are concerned. I mean, she interviews Darby Crash. That right there alone is worth the price of admission. And whereas I'll skip over the second one because I don't particularly love the second one. I don't like that whole sort of cock rock, Poison, trying to fuck as many chicks as possible. I find it just waters the music down. When they start doing more coke, then when they start, snorting more coke, then writing lyrics, everything just seems to go to hell, and the music really seems to suffer because that period of heavy metal, or at least that type of heavy metal, because at the same time, Metallica and Slayer were going hard. But for the most part, the second one is focused around more of like that LA Guns sort of Hanoi Rocks, cock rock shit. The glam thing that I never really got into. I completely lost my train of thought. I was saying something about something, and now I can't remember what it was. It doesn't really matter. The decline of Western civilization, as far as the first one, if you just look at it as a standalone, if it doesn't have 2 more parts completing the trilogy, this is still an incredibly important document of regarding musical history, and it does a really good job of, solidifying punk rock's importance in musical history, I suppose is a good way of putting it, because this documentary tackles these bands with such respect, and there's such a sense of reverence, and the questions that she asks, they're really well thought out, and you can tell that she really cares what the bands and the fans are saying in this, and that comes through perfectly throughout the course of this entire documentary. Can't think of anything else I want to say about this, so I think I'll leave it there. So thank you so much for hanging out with me while I discussed the first decline of Western civilization. Like always, if you like this review, don't forget to do something nice for somebody. I'm going to go because I'm starting to get a little warm because there's a lot of fucking lights on me. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.